It was a beautiful, warm Sunday afternoon, and Chris, a 12-year-old boy, was playing soccer with his mates. Chris loves soccer, and they were winning. It was the first half of the game. They were doing really well. Chris loves technology. He has a smartwatch, a mobile app. He keeps sharing everything that he does with his friends and family, uploading sports activities. He's a hiker. He likes sharing everything about his life. Chris is also a kid that has type 1 diabetes. And as a 12-year-old boy, he knows just enough to be able to cope with it, to react to some of the situations that he might have in his life. And while his team was winning, the first half was over, everyone was celebrating, Chris realized that he was extremely exhausted. So with his limited understanding of diabetes, he thought, all right, well, my blood sugar levels might be dropping, so let me just grab a couple of sugary snacks, drink a couple of sugary drinks to bring them up. What Chris did not know is that in some cases, especially with activities that they're highly intensive, the blood sugar might actually go up. So what was happening inside his body was a situation where the blood sugar levels was going up even higher, and he didn't have enough insulin to deal with the extra sugar in the blood. So that really means that a particular case, hyperglycemia, is imminent here. And a severe hyperglycemia might result with something that is called diabetic coma. Not a fun situation for a 12-year-old child. Thankfully, Chris's doctor had an algorithm that subscribed to the very sports activities that Chris is sharing with his friends and family. And also Chris has a small chip under his skin. It's called continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, which can also transmit information every couple of seconds on blood sugar levels. Chris's doctor had an algorithm that could combine the two pieces of information and derive some future prediction. With a high level of accuracy, the algorithm could say that there's going to be a spike in blood sugar levels in Chris's blood in the next half an hour or so. The algorithm informed the doctor. The doctor gave Chris's father a call. And a few minutes and one insulin shot later, Chris was back in the game, scoring goals for his team. So it all ended very well. Now, what I told you just now, even though it's a story, it's just a story, it's not science fiction. Every single piece of technology that I mentioned is available. These are off-the-shelf technologies you can buy right now. The algorithms that I was talking about are available. You can use them. There is a clear business case. There is clear customer value here. So why are we not seeing services like that every day delivered by our doctors? Well, the answer is both simple and complex. The simple one is that it really requires an organizational change to be able to look at your customers, at your organization differently, and deliver services, deliver products in a completely new way. Deliver them even before your customers realize they need them, even before they requested them. The more complex one is that it requires delivery of such services in such a way. It really requires an understanding of what a proactive organization is. And there are examples of proactive organizations. Being able to understand how proactive organizations behave, what are the traits, is critically important. So let me walk you through that a bit today. And this is based on the research that we've been doing for over several months with various partners. We've understood that proactive organizations, when they look at their customers, they see events in their lives. They see that the customers, whether it's individuals or businesses, live their lives going from one event to the other. And an event is effectively a change in circumstances of an individual or a business that creates a need for a reaction. There's a life cycle of events. Sometimes we're able to forecast that an event is going to happen. In the case of Chris, his doctor was able, given the information that he had access to, was able to forecast that blood sugar level spike. Sometimes we can notice the fact that an event has happened even before the customer has noticed that. So my water utility, by analyzing smart meter data, could spot a burst pipe or a water leakage at my place even before I notice anything. It's entirely possible right now. My hardware store could look at the products that I'm buying and realize that there was an event quite recently. I might have moved to a new place. Just by analyzing what I'm buying, they could derive that fact. So it's entirely possible to be an organization that analyzes the data available to them and responds in the right way. So how can you respond, right? So this is, by the way, this is the first dimension of how proactive organizations work. They can forecast or fact or detect, so they can forecast that an event is going to happen. They can see the fact of the event happening, and then they can detect that the customer is doing something about the event, and they can join them at that stage of the customer journey. The second dimension is how organizations are going to react. So assuming that I can forecast, or Chris's doctor can forecast something about Chris, he has three options. And through our analysis of organizations, we call those options recommender, assistant, and autopilot. A recommender organization could be my university that comes to me and says, Marek, you've received your MBA degree 10 years ago. We have analyzed your job situation, the job market. We believe that you might benefit from refreshing your skills. It's just providing me with enough information based on the information that the university can gather about me. An example of an assistant organization could be my hardware store, who would say, Marek, we see that you have moved to a new place. These are the products that people who have moved to a new place usually buy. These are the services that they use. Would you like us to deliver them to you? So an assistant will prepare a recommendation and allow me to almost press a button and get the products or services. And an autopilot will be my water utility company that I work with that will detect the burst pipe on my premises. And even though the pipes on my premises technically do not belong to them, just because of the trusted relationship that I have with the water utility, they will come and fix the leakage even before I'm aware that there is any leakage. They will just let me know, hey Marek, we fixed the leakage for you. So this is the second dimension of proactive organizations. This is how they offer their services. Obviously, when we look at some of the ways of delivering services, we're thinking, well, trust is extremely important. Or you might be thinking about other traits of an organization. What organization would I work with? What organization would I allow to subscribe to my life, to subscribe to the events in my life, and offer services in response? Again, what we've seen is that there are 7 traits of proactive organizations. And it all starts with trust. Just like I said now, as a proactive organization, you want to understand whether your customers trust you enough to allow you to subscribe to their life events or whatever is happening in your life as a business or individual. Do they trust you enough to allow you to deliver services to them without an explicit agreement every single time? Is your organization focused on initiatives, so making sure that you take the first step? You're not waiting for the customer to come to you and ask for a service or product, but you come to them and say, hey, I have something for you. and do it in a way that is not creepy. Customer centricity, this one is fairly obvious to everyone in the room here, but it really starts and ends with a customer, whatever we do as an organization. Data focus is not an easy one. For organizations, it's the ability to identify, assess, capture, and properly use the data that might be available to them in their proactive delivery of services. Transparency is all about that creepiness that I mentioned. Can you work with your customer and explain to them why and how are you delivering services? How do you know that they need that service so they don't feel like they don't have control over that relationship? Environmental awareness means that we as organizations need to be able to look around us and identify any trends, any opportunities, any potential threats that might be there in the environment, and change our strategy accordingly as quickly as possible, which takes us to agility, which is exactly that, ability to quickly change or pivot, as we would say, whenever you see there's an opportunity to do so. And what is the outcome? What is the benefit? What we're seeing is that proactive organizations can be both more efficient and also expand. They can be more efficient as in the delivery of their products and services is more targeted, and the customers get the right products or services, the ones that they need at the right time. They can also expand because by being proactive, you can come up with completely new services. Think about the one that Chris's doctor has offered. No doctor is offering a service like that. I'm going to call you if something's happening with your son at the moment. And for customers, that means an ability to consume more services, being able to find out or know which ones are available to you. In many cases, customers are very confused. They work with organizations that often have hundreds of services available, and they're just confused. They don't know which ones to choose from. So we're going to talk more about it during the panel, and we want to have a bit more discussion about proactive organization in a few minutes. But before that, I wanted to let you know that by the end of this event, you're going to receive those 2 artifacts in your email. We have prepared a report on proactive organizations, which is effectively a tool set for you to follow if you want to transform your organizations to become a proactive one. It's an evidence-based tool set. And we also have a podcast that you can listen to on your way back home. It's a 15-minute podcast, which also summarizes what is happening in this event. The time is now, and it's time for us to rethink how our organizations operate and transform them to be more proactive. But there's more. We do realize that at an event like that, we talk about future concepts, and tomorrow morning, you might need to get back to your offices and think about delivery of your services. So we decided to give you no choice, and we're giving you a tool set, so-called Proactive Services Canvas, that you can follow in your brainstorming ideation exercise at your organization to come up with new ways of delivering services, with proactive services. Now, this canvas is released as Creative Commons. It's free. You can use it however you want for commercial purposes. You can modify it. You can redistribute it. The only thing we're asking you to do is to acknowledge the original authors of the canvas whenever you do something else with that. And let me show you how it works. So I prepared a couple of post-it notes. And let's imagine I'm a doctor. Well, technically I am a doctor, but a different type of doctor. So let's imagine I'm a doctor who's offering services to Chris's father. And for those of you who cannot see it, I have a version of it here as well. So Marek offering services for Chris's father. First, what we're going to do is we need to identify an event in the life of a customer. Our customer is not Chris, it's Chris's father. So an event in his life is that a family member develops hyperglycemia. Now the question is, as an organization, can we forecast that event? Can we observe the event when it's happening? Can we also act whenever we see that it has happened? How can we do it? Now, normally you would have more post-it notes, but because I only have 3 minutes right now, I'm going to rush through that canvas. So how could we do it? Well, we could analyze the food intake, the physical activity, the blood sugar levels. That's not a technical level of that canvas yet. How could we detect that something has happened? Well, we could see that the physical activity has dropped. That's one of the symptoms of hyperglycemia. That the blood sugar levels have spiked, and that perhaps friends and family are sharing some symptoms that they're worried about. We can also see that someone's acting on it. So Chris's father is acting on it because he might be calling the doctor or he might be using an insulin pump. Next, in that canvas, we're analyzing digital signals. So how could we learn about it in the digital world? So in the forecast part, we could analyze data coming from sport trackers, CGMs, so continuous glucose monitors, or even Instagram. Did you know there's an app you can take a photo of your food and it will tell you how many calories it has? Computer vision. You could detect that something has happened, again, by analyzing sports activity, data, CGMs, or perhaps online reporting tools. So you could give a tool, an app to Chris's friends who could say something's worrying happening with Chris. We could detect that someone's acting on it, or in this case, Chris's father is acting on it, by analyzing call logs to our health clinics, or perhaps Internet of Things signals coming from the pump. So someone has already used the pump. It's important for us in an organization to know that they're doing something about it. We need to understand what are potential pains and gains related to the event. In this particular case, we don't really have gains. What we have is the two big pains: risk of diabetic coma and dramatic family situation. So we try to define what the value proposition around it would be. And there, really what matters for Chris's father is the peace of mind. This is the value proposition. As a proactive organization, now we try to understand how could we react as a recommender, assistant, or autopilot. As a recommender, we could, for instance, and it's a brainstorming area here, this is where we try to come up with new ideas. As a recommender, we could inform the parent of imminent risk or instruct the parent what to do. As an assistant, we could suggest sending a nearby nurse to Chris or suggest delivery of insulin through pump. But this is just suggestion. Someone needs to say, yes, let's do it. In the autopilot mode, we would just do it, having a relationship with Chris's father that allows us to do it. We could do just that. Once we have the ideas here and we understand the signals, we need to think about some additional signals or data objects that we need to collect. So for instance, here, to inform the parent what they need to do, we need to know where they are and perhaps know how much insulin they have at home. Because we have a smart fridge at home that would tell us how much insulin we have there. In the assistant mode, we need to know the location of nurses, and we might need to have access to application programming interface of the pump, so being able to actually use it. And it's fairly similar in the autopilot mode, with potentially some other data signals available here. What it really means is also that we need to cover the trust part. And here we have that full transparency of the process, data privacy, but also certification of that data privacy and an authorization of the parents to work with the child. It's very important to develop the trust part. In the end, to that peace of mind, we could probably add some more value, things like better health, lower insurance, because the kid is taken care of much better, and regain control of life, which is often what proactive organizations give us. So let me correct that slide that I was showing you. In fact, we're giving you three things: the report, the 15-minute podcast, and also a canvas. And really, you have no option right now. It is going to take you half an hour to take the first shot at it. And you might want to spend a bit more time and work with that canvas as well. At the PwC Chair in Digital Economy at QUT, we believe that digital economy is giving individuals and businesses an opportunity to shape a better future. And every day we look for opportunities to help organizations and individuals to become better, to become more competitive. And that's why we're here at this event, because we want to help you. We want to share with you what we are learning about digital economy. We're giving you that tool set, and my personal hope is that in a few months from now, some of you will come to me and say, hey, Marek, we've transformed our business, we're proactive now, and we're doing really well. And in the meantime, good luck with that.